Hello and welcome to A VO's Journey. It's Friday, the 17th of November. Next week is Thanksgiving, and I got a great show for you today. I want to talk about something that is a question that I get often, and it's something worthy of a conversation. And that is, what is the cost of being successful in voiceover? And we're gonna go as opposed to not necessarily philosophical, because there is there's a mental cost, no doubt. But we're gonna talk about more price from a money standpoint. What is the price that I need to invest in order to be successful in voiceover? I get this question, and we're going to break it down and talk about that. So I'm excited to do that. Make sure, on a side note, that with Thanksgiving being next week, with all the family coming, everything going on, that you spend a few hours planning, getting ready for that setup for your business standpoint of making sure your auditions are, when they come in, you're ready to go. Your out of office notices are ready to go. If you've got work, how you're going to handle that, how, just plan. Right? Plan. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Right? We've all heard that. So, and it's a really good advice. So make sure that you take care of that today or this weekend while you're planning your meal or whatever you're doing for Thanksgiving. That'll really help a lot. But let's go ahead and dive in. I got this question. What does it cost to be successful? And what's the price? How much should I be spending on equipment, on coaching, on marketing, advertising, all this kind of stuff? What should I spend in order to be successful? So I think to start off this whole conversation, we have to define what success means to you, right? What are you trying, what does that look like? Do you want to build do you want to build a voiceover empire where you're heard in every household around the world, around the country, or whatever? Do you want to be a sports announcer? Do you want to be, a automotive voice? Where you work with dealerships everywhere. What do you want to do? What is success? Remember, money is a byproduct of right action done consistently over and over again, right? So money can be a measurement, revenue, of certain things, but I always shy away from trying to say how much money is, because everybody's success from a money standpoint is going to be different. And here's the thing: you're never going to have enough money. I mean, really, you're never going to have enough. There's always going to be something that comes up that you need more money for. There's always some. Now, maybe there's some people, like are super rich billionaires and stuff who have enough money, but they'll probably tell you they don't have enough money because there's something that they want to do that they don't have enough money for. There's always something more that we're going to want. But for this particular discussion, we need to come up with, I think revenue goals are important for any business, right? We need to have revenue goals so that we know kind of where we're trying to take everything. So that's important to come up with. What does that success look for you? It could be literally, I want to be able to do this full time, which means I need to replace my income, which is this. I need to consider taxes and all this stuff. So this is the number I need to make a month, and then I work back from there. That's one way to look at it, and you can do it that way. So if you look at success in that manner, okay, you have to think about, what is it that is going to be able to generate that kind of money? What type of, what would your business need to look like, right? And what kind of money would you need to spend to make it look that way and run that way? I think that's what it needs. Do you want to be an operator? Do you want to be completely hands-on with every aspect of your business? Do you want to be completely hands-off? You just want to be the voice. You don't want to do the marketing. You don't want to do the management. You don't want to do the editing and all this stuff. You just want to be the voice, or you want to do all of that. I mean, these are questions that you need to answer so that we know what you need to, because these are going to take different investments. All right. And they will generate different types of businesses. Okay. It's an important question to ask, and you need to answer it. here's the rub. You might not know. You might be like, well, I don't really know if I want to manage it all or I don't want to manage it all. And I don't really know if this is what I want and so that is a challenge in itself that we need to overcome, meaning that it's hard to grow to the heights that we want to feel that we've grown to without having strong decisions in these areas. Okay, so that means that we're going to need to make them despite us not having or not feeling that this is the right decision at the right time. All we can do, now I was talking about this yesterday in our live session, right? I think in the podcast, but all we can do is make the best decision that we can make at any given time. And you say, well, duh. But what I'm saying is all we can do is make the decision with all the information that we have at that moment in time, and that's the best decision we can make. But we have to make the decision. So, some decisions are going to lead to the right way. Some decisions are going to lead to a path where we need to correct and make another decision to make another decision to keep moving forward. Okay, this is the way of the universe. Right? You walk one way, you correct, you walk the other way, right? We have 2 feet. We have a right foot and a left foot. You move with the right foot, and then you correct and move with the left foot, and you correct and you move with the right foot. It's not one way. It's a constant correction to move forward. Okay? So always remember that. So don't beat yourself up when you're having to make these corrections to move forward. It should be expected. So when the price comes, so let's just throw out, let's say I want to make $100,000 a year in this. Okay, I want to make $100,000 a year doing voiceover. So if you, and I love this kind of picture, if you were to go for a job interview and the job was paying $100,000 a year, okay, what would you go into the interview dressed like? Well, you probably dress the very best you could dress, right? What would you make your resume look like? We probably make your resume look like the best it could look. You might even hire someone, right? Or a couple people to help you write your resume, help you format it, make it look right, do the research to make sure it's meeting, what the particular industry that you're going for is looking at, okay, is looking for, okay? What level of preparation are you going to do? Well, you're probably going to do a lot of research. You might even take some classes. You might even, do some educational courses and things so that you're ready to answer questions intelligently and you've done research. And you might even go even further and research the specific companies. You might even reach out to people and talk to them and see what they're looking, right? You're going to do work and you're going to get education so that you're prepared for this. All right. The day there, you're going to be early. Do you see a pattern here? We are creating for that job interview for $100,000. We're going to look our best. We're going to be at our best. Everything is going to be the very best that we can do. I see a lot of voice actors who have really great intentions. Okay. But they stop at intentions instead of focusing their efforts on what does it mean to be the best in order to get to that 100,000. And we're just using that as an example, whatever the success is, but we're using $100,000 for this one. So to get to that $100,000 model, I often see people join platforms and they put like the bare minimum or things on the platforms, and I always ask, if, like, you could make over 6 figures on this platform, but do you feel like your effort or the work, your thumbnails, your pictures, your resume, your demos, your copy, all of the presentations that you're showing everybody, how you're showing up here, do you feel like that is worthy of someone being like, yeah, they should be making that much money? Okay, this is a really great question to ask yourself. A lot of times the answer is, well, no, I could be doing a lot more. And a lot of us know that. I mean, a lot of us think, well, I know I should be doing more. I know I need to fix those demos. I know I need a headshot, but we don't. And then we do, a lot of times you'll hear people say, well, it's money. And I think money plays a part. I'm not going to lie. Of course it does, right? We have money, we have money to do money, but at the same time, what also plays a part is indecision. And that's why I'm trying to go back to what I was saying about in the beginning and why that's so important, because all of this other stuff that you have to do, okay, it stems from making those decisions. And failure, or having to overcorrect all the time, because we're talking that way, like you're always correcting to the point where it gets exhausting because you don't even know how to correct or where to correct because that was the fifth correction on the other thing you correct. Like it gets overwhelming. You feel like you're lost. A lot of that is because of indecision. Now, you might be like, well, I don't know what industry or what genre I should be in voiceover. That's kind of to me, that's a little different way. That's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about making a decision. There'll come a time where you could make a decision to be in one specific genre, and that's all you do. But I like to do a variety of different genres, and I present myself, and that's not a bad thing. I'm talking about what I talked about in the beginning, was making a decision about what you want out of all this, where you want to go, how you want this whole thing to end up. I'm telling you, the craziest thing is when you finally make that decision. Like, you finally make the decision and you burn the boats, even metaphorically. I'm not talking about like you got to quit your job and all this stuff, like really burn. No, I mean, but even because when you make a decision, I'm telling you, it happens. Because the universe, it's a universal law. I don't know what it is, but when you actually make a decision in your mind that says it's this way and that is it, that is the way it's going to be, whether it's now or in the future, that is how it's going to be. There is no other way. I'm telling you, something magical happens in the universe. Okay? It helps you. This is a silly example, just as when you see someone. Think about this. Whenever you hear someone talking about with conviction, like, I've decided to do this, and they talk about it, and you can tell they've made that decision. There's no other thing that they've decided. That's the decision they've made, to be this or to do that or to get this or to get that. What do you say usually about those people? Oh, yeah, they're probably going to make it. Why do you even say that? We hardly know anything about these people, but you know what I'm talking about. You hear these people and you're like, yeah, they're probably going to make it. Because we know deep down inside, once you actually make the decision, the rest of it is just waiting for everyone else to catch up. That's all it is. Because there's nothing else that will stop you. It's so incredible. When someone makes a decision, nothing will stop you. It won't. Now, you might not always arrive exactly how you thought you would, but you will arrive. It's incredible. It is. I know you know this is true. The problem is that we are nervous about making the decisions because we don't know if it's magically the right answer. But I venture to say that in order to get where you want to be, to accomplish extraordinary things, you've got to take extraordinary action. But to take extraordinary action first, you have to make an extraordinary decision. It's funny because I think the action part is always, that's what we focus on all the time, which we know that's vital. That's where the rubber meets the road. But so much time is not focused on the decision, right? The decision is what precedes the action. It's what precedes all of it, is making a decision. And I don't mean I don't mean making a decision, oh, I'm interested in learning. Okay? I mean making the decision like this is what will happen. This is what will happen. It's happening. It's like there is a I don't know, it's a warmth about it when you make that decision. It's something special. And you might not even be in a headspace where you're like, how do I know I've made that decision? I can guarantee if you're asking that question, you still haven't made the decision. All right? Can that decision be born out of frustration? Yes. I think, can it be, can it come from intense emotion? Sure. But it has to come before the success comes. It has to, before the correct actions can come. Let me rephrase that. Before the persistence in action comes. You can start taking the correct actions while still trying to learn. But when the moments happen, and they always do, they will. It's again another law of the universe. There will always be a correction. You will step to the right, and you will always have to then step to the left. You will always then have to step back to the right. There will always be a correction, and if you lack the conviction, right, from a determined decision, you'll quit, or you'll stop, or you'll pause. Or you'll get this analysis paralysis, or you'll start to pull back on decisions instead of making more. And remember, a decision is not good or bad. All right? It's a dedication in any given moment of time to move in a direction. Right? That it's not a good or bad thing, but you have to make them. And what you'll find is, do you remember when you were younger and you were in school and we take tests, and were you ever that person who would, especially on like multiple choice, and your first the first feeling you got, you know what I mean, to answer the question, like it was A, but your first feeling you got, you thought it was A, but then you're like, oh, well, maybe it's C, and you chose C, and come to find out it was A. I mean, this happens a lot, and a lot of that is because, I talked to you the other day, too, about trusting yourself, but that decision-making and trusting yourself, okay, there comes a point where, again, that's making a decision that I'm going to trust myself and I'm going to go for it. Even if you're wrong, that's fine. It's a correction. But what you cannot overcome, honestly, until you do it, is making the decision. You have to make that decision. And it's because, again, I think this video and me talking about it has really led to the decision making. Okay, the decision making. So then, from all, like, if we do all full circle of all of that, going back to our interview idea and the price, the actual physical price, what does it cost to get great looking headshots? What does it cost to get great demos? Well, to have great demos, you have to make sure that you can perform first, right? That you can act accordingly. Okay, then they have to be mixed properly. There's got to be some great setup there, awareness of trends. There's a lot of education in that. How do we then research and market accordingly? Be in the right places that people are going for. Have the right answers. Know how to answer rate questions. Know what we should charge for rates. Know where we're, what is the plan of how we're going to go to A, B, C, D. These are things that you have to push forward with, and those do cost money. Okay? Anything that you want to be successful at has a price. And you can overpay, you can underpay, but they all have a price. So you have to be prepared to pay something. You have to be, because nothing's free. And nothing worthwhile is free at all. Okay, nothing worthwhile is free. But from a cost standpoint, if you want to make $100,000 a year, you better have a really good microphone. You better have good equipment. Okay, I'm not saying you can't do something with a $100 microphone. We've talked about this. I've talked about this ad nauseum, right? I started with a $40 microphone, but I didn't hold any illusions that I was going to be making $100,000 a year with a $40 microphone. Okay, you have to understand you need great equipment. You need great headshots. You need great demos. You need professional looking websites that works. That's more than just your picture on the front page with a couple of demos and a contact form. You need more. You need more. Does that make sense? All right, guys. Thank you so much. I hesitate to say it's $1,000, it's $10,000, it's $5,000 because I've seen deals where people have gotten a whisper room for $500. They got a Sennheiser 416 or TLM 103 for $300 or $700 or $600. I mean, there's deals everywhere. There's where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's a decision made, there is a way. Remember that. Where there's a decision made, there's a way. I think a will is right. Where there's a will, but that will is, again, predicated upon making a decision. But I would say that the cost for things is going to be more than probably you want to pay. But at the same time, remember, who are you really investing that money in? And yourself. So I find a lot of people sometimes get worried about investing money because they're not certain whether they trust themselves. And once again, and I'll leave it at this, it goes back to making a decision. Because once you make a real hard decision, you're willing to do whatever it takes. You're willing to pay whatever it takes. Because accomplishing the goal, seeing that decision to its end, is what the goal is, not how much money does it cost at that moment or whatever this is. Again, I'm talking a broader view. I'm not saying go out and be dumb and spend all sorts of money, for something that you could have gotten a lot less expensive. I'm just using these as an example. All right, you guys, I better go. We've been talking forever. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. I hope you have a great weekend. Listen, with everything coming up, make sure you take a look at joining a VO's Journey Elite Academy for me. You're gonna really, it's really going to help you, give you the sources and the tools you need, not only to help you make that decision, but then once you make the decision, to have the tools and resources you need, the support you need to get to the fruition of that decision. Okay? Check out the link below. Would love for you to give us a shot. Have a great weekend, and super excited about Turkey Day next week. So talk to you later. Bye, everybody.